Hi, my name is Pavel, for those who didn't get to meet me. By day, I'm the CTO of Visuality, a Ruby agency from Warsaw, Poland. And today I will be talking to you about, for myself, the only skill that I and perhaps you need in the long run, and that would be creativity. So a bit of my history, but only one slide. I started as a freelancer, or in fact, back in the day, we were called webmasters. I Googled it like 2 days ago, and actually it is an ancient term. It used to describe a person who knows the entire stack, like full stack and beyond, because we were doing it all at the very beginning. And throughout my career, I finally arrived at this position of CTO of Ruby agency, a speaker, a teacher for the newcomers. And well, how did it happen for me? Well, a lot of hard work. And I will have to say the most forgiving wife for me staying up late like over and over again. And the thing that has driven me, creativity. So as I understand it, the ability to solve tasks when you hear they are impossible. But at the moment, I'm 41, to be 42 this year. But around 35-ish, I started to doubt. It was pre-AI, so it's the different set of thoughts, actually. But I started to doubt because I was reading that, hey, those new youngers, new JavaScript framework, right, every week. I can't keep up, I can't learn it all. And there may be younger people, more agile. I got to have less and less like free time to do my side projects, for example, because I try to put family first. Always. I was worried about maybe not at around 35, but maybe someday in the future when I'm 40, 50 or whatever, maybe I will have lower stamina. And this term at the very beginning, at the very end, just carelessism, was something that I kind of started to feel, and this is actually grammatically correct. I asked ChatGPT. But so these were my worries, and when I talk to you guys, I'm not alone, or I wasn't alone. Now I'm just a bit older, and I can say it's bullshit. And the dot is intentional, it's the hate dot. Because we do not become obsolete when we are older. Now I can observe it. Again, I'm not that older, but at least I'm past 40 and some. So there are new languages and frameworks, but with experience, I can learn much faster. Like I can pick up like a framework in a week, let's say, and be quite good at it already. Of course, not all the details. But if there are younger developers, they make such stupid mistakes because they don't have the experience. They reinvent the wheel constantly instead of just knowing what to do. And about the less free time, it's a phase. When your kids are like 2, 3, 4, 5-ish, you have less free time because you want to be with them. But later on, they really don't want to be with you anymore. So it's a phase that passes, and you have again free time. About lower stamina, well, you have much higher efficiency, and the lower stamina thing actually happens because you have like less strength eventually, but you can make up for it with efficiency, at least with my experience. And about just not caring, I will talk about in a second. So one thing I would love to pass on to you is take care of yourself. Like actually, I don't know, to go to the gym, find a hobby, whatever. Make something that makes you happy, because without that you'll go crazy actually. And think ahead. There is a decision that we sometimes have to make. As in general, every one of us, we start as developers. Okay, most of us start as developers, and there is this crossroads. Maybe someone offers you a position of a team lead, or maybe a lead developer. That's a bit different. Team lead deals with people. Lead developer deals with code, or maybe an engineering manager. Engineering manager, to my understanding, they don't code really. They manage the team. I was offered this position at some point, or maybe the path towards this position, and I said no. Because I wanted to plan ahead, and I wanted to make sure I have a way back. At the moment when I was asked whether I would like to be an engineering manager, I figured I don't have enough technical knowledge yet to go towards being an engineering manager and come back. If I came back, I would have to start over, kinda, which I wasn't ready for. And the same happens, and I can say with being CTO. When I became CTO, I said, okay, I will still code. I do, to some extent, but it's the business role, and I get to do it less and less. But now, I kind of feel I have this edge. Like, even if I do it for another 3 years, and I want to be a developer later on, I can do it. Guys, I vibe code from time to time as well. And some of you would create your own businesses and become CEOs. So it's also a decision where you have to think ahead. Do you have a plan if you want to change your mind? And a bit about that, this is an exercise that I do with every developer in Visuality, and not also, I've also done it to our CEO, that I ask everyone to think where they see themselves in like 1, 2, 5 years. Because guys, if you talk to HR during like recruitment and you hear this question, it's crap, right? This is bullshit then. But if you do this exercise for yourself, it brings so much value. Because if you are a developer and you think, okay, so what do I want to do in 2 years? I want to be a developer, a better one. All right, so how do you get that? What do you have to learn to be a better developer? Maybe you want to find your niche. Okay, so first of all, I have to look for it. I have to try a few things. So plan ahead and execute. And if you want to kind of shift your career, maybe again towards some niche, build social connections. Like find someone who already does that, ask, and maybe get some help. And repeat. Maybe not even once a year, maybe every half a year, because why not? It's not a big exercise. And around here, I would really urge you to make sure that you still want to be a developer. Maybe not you, because you guys come to conferences, so I guess you won't. But people get burned out because it's not fun for them anymore. Maybe they should be like a florist or a baker, maybe sometimes. Just think about it. When you plan ahead, you can create your own future. Well, so just think what you want to do. And if you stay on this path, remember one thing, that seniority is both knowledge and experience. We sometimes worry, like, where does Ruby go? Or what AI brings? Guys, if you've spent 10 years debugging production or some legacy code, you have experience. The same problems will happen because of AI or other junior developers or yourself in the future, but you have the experience. You can relate to your experience. So if you are to change technology, for example, tech stack in 10 to 15 years, you will still be senior, for me at least, in my eyes. You just have to pick up a new tool. And the one thing that is probably the most important in the context of this talk and for myself is for you to find something that drives you. Because otherwise you will burn out, for sure. And the last one, being able to buy food, it's a decent driver for some time, but eventually it won't keep you going. So some of us find this driver in like teaching, maybe networking, like in here in conferences, maybe building your open source or your product, like Adrian did. So you find your driver, and that keeps you going. And in the context of this talk, I want to talk about my driver, and that is staying creative. I will start by showing like 2, 3, 4 examples of my past work, and then we'll dive into something fun. So I've been doing this web programming for like 20 plus years. I stopped counting, actually. My first website was when I was like 13. and it would still be going if I didn't forget the password. A long time ago. But at some point, I was creating an e-commerce, myself, for a client, and I got this request that they want to sell wallpapers, and they have like 5,000 of them. They want to create something like this. They want to have like rendered interiors, like you can see, it's the same room, and they want to show different wallpapers. And there were more or less 5,000 wallpapers and 7 interiors. So yes, there was an idea to use Photoshop for that, because to create one such image, you have to get the render itself, then there were some shaders, so 2 additional images, and the wallpaper itself, which you had to adjust. So it was like impossible thing to do using Photoshop, manually at least. But back then I was writing in PHP, and there is something called image magic. And actually you can go pixel by pixel and merge every image, all those 4 images for all the wallpapers, all the interiors, and you can create yourself like 35,000 images in 2 days, apparently. It has taken 2 days for the server to process them all, but they served for this page for like the next 10 years. So, because each new one, it was cached, each new one would also be processed. And I used the same technique later on with Ruby on Rails, with Stimulus e-commerce, to allow people to put stickers of minions on their suitcases. This is actually, it feels goofy, but this is like a multi-million company that ordered that. So a startup, but very successful. And you could place them using JavaScript, but later they wanted people to share that on Facebook. So I had to create like a hard copy of whatever they've drawn in JavaScript, and I used exactly the same technique. And my favorite task, like throughout my history, was actually building a kiosk device for like large retail stores. So we were maintaining, me and my friend were maintaining their websites for like 6 big stores with hardware and building equipment. And they asked us to build them kiosk devices for the stores. So we did. So we've taken something similar like this. This is like a small computer and touch screen and barcode reader. And we put the same e-commerce that we were maintaining for them inside of this, not inside of this computer, we put it on a server, local server, and those were actually just web browser. It was like early version of Chrome, I think, without in a full screen, and you could browse the product catalog. But what about the barcode reader? Have any of you got to work with those ever? Oh, much more hands than I expected. So, but that's great. That's actually great. So what it does, whenever you scan, it acts as a keyboard. So it sends a string to whatever device is connected. So it sends a string to your website. But guys, we have JavaScript. We can do it. So in there, actually, barcode reader was handled with JavaScript. That would just point you to the product that you scanned. And using, I kind of feel like most of such devices now use web pages, or at least a lot of those. But for me, it was quite creative back then, and because it was like 12-ish years ago, I think. One of my favorite tasks was creating a real-time game for Euroco ticket contest, like 2 years ago. After one of my talks, I talked with the organizer, and they asked if I can do it. So I've created Tetris, which, again, it's a real-time game, but I used Rails for backend, frontend, and game loop. So it's fully in Hotwire. It uses no custom like JavaScript. There is no front-end state. It's all in backend. And I've talked about it a bunch of times. So if you're interested, you can find it on my GitHub and some YouTube videos. And as I was talking about things presenting in like meetups, conferences, things like this Tetris, I found it very troublesome to switch between a keynote, which I used back then, and a Ruby presentation. a Ruby application. You have to go out of context, back and forth, and it's just annoying. At some point, I finished playing this Tetris as a demo, like backwards with my left hand. Of course, I failed. So I decided to create a application in Ruby on Rails that you can use as a presentation tool. And actually, you are looking at it. So what you're looking at is like full-on Ruby on Rails application that is that uses all the features of Ruby on Rails, solid queue as well. It's deployed to DigitalOcean using Camel, and guys, it handles real software. Because just as that barcode, I can use a clicker, because all it does is it sends a key code to your website. And it also uses JavaScript and Tailwind just to showcase this is it. Sorry?
For the website, our presentation here for the conference is the same way, it's a website.
Great. So if you'd like to use it for your slides ever, it's open source in my GitHub. All right, but all those things were never enough. For me, it didn't stop my creativity. I always wanted to do more. I always thought there is more to be done. Well, until large language models came. Because this actually triggered me so much, like positively, let's say. At first, I didn't want to learn because it hurts, but actually when I got in, and I really started to enjoy doing different fun projects that led to some production code as well. So, but when I think about coding in Ruby on Rails, the first thing I have in my mind is that it is a full stack framework. So I want to use LLM like a full stack. And I'll show you voice control, LLM-driven, just made fun. Suspense. I want to introduce you to my assistant. Hey, Jem, come to us, please. This is Jem. He can do some tricks. First of all, he can appear, but let's move into the side. Can you move to the left, please? Please remember, whatever you see, this is a Ruby on Rails application. As I mentioned, I created this application for presentation just for things like this. He is not that good at jumping, but he can try. Can you jump, please? Whenever you see like a red bar at the very top, it means I'm recording a command. Can you sniff around, please? I don't know how many of you played with WebGL, so 3D graphics on in browsers. Did he do it? I didn't. Awesome. First time it didn't work. So first time I've done this presentation. So this is Jem, and I wanted just to showcase that you can do really fun stuff. And now let me just briefly show you how it works, because it's very simple, and all you have to do is embrace Ruby on Rails. The plan is quite simple. We want to record the audio and send it to the server. Then I want to convert the audio to text and figure out, hey, what the hell did he want? And no regexps, I can assure you. Then I want to broadcast the command that I figured in the server back to frontend and call a mundane JavaScript function just to trigger an action of our gem. So let's see how it works. I won't bore you with JavaScript too much, but you have to use it. And again, Ruby on Rails full stack framework, let's embrace JavaScript at least a bit as well. So all you need to do is use this media recorder API. It's available in like all the major browsers, and just bind one event data available. So whenever you start recording, stop recording, it launches this send audio function, which is again that simple. It's just a construction of an API request, post request with web media attached. And this web media, recording webm, this is file. This is an audio file that we just recorded. And here come Rails. Audio's recorder is just a mundane CRUD controller we're using a model audio, which is active record with one file attached. And that's it. With those, this is all there is actually for recording audio and sending to the server and saving inside of your database as a record. Now the fun part. I want to convert that audio to text and figure out what's happening. Now we get to use LLMs. I will be using Ruby OpenAI Gem. It's quite low level. There are others like Ruby LLM, for example, but I like it. It's as low as I would like to go without accessing API directly. And I will be using this constant of OpenAI client, which is just initialized client from this gem with my access token. And I will be using different methods on it. So convert audio to text. So basically what we do is transcribing from audio to text. This is all it takes to play with LLM in this matter. So I have this audio application record. I have additional method transcribe. I open the file, use the client to audio translate. I use translate, there's transcribe as well. It doesn't matter in this use case. And I send it to model called Whisper. And for those who haven't had the chance to see what Whisper does, it's like this behemoth of a model that actually understands like 100 different languages, can translate between most of them, like 50 of those. And there are more recent models, but this one is more than enough for whatever I can imagine. So in here, I wanted to respond with text. After this call, I will get a response of, "Hey Gem, go to the right." A simple string that I can save inside of my audio. All right, now we have to figure out what you actually meant within this command. And allow me to show you a quick exercise. What would happen if I send, "Hey Gem, go to the right," to an LLM? It will say something like, answer with something like, "Okay, I can see you want to go right, but what the hell? What do you mean by that? Give me some more context." And what you can do is use tools. Tools used to be called functions. I think that later they were called tools, and I think they are called functions again, but I don't follow. Let's call them tools. So apart from this string, this prompt, "Hey Gem, go to the right," you can provide the tools, so again, functions, that the LLM can use. So for example, with this prompt, if I provide two tools, move left, move right, and I should describe each of the tools. If I say, "Hey Gem, go to the right," it would answer move right. If I said, "Hey Gem, move to the left," it would answer move left. What's funny, or most important, if I send the prompt, "What's the capital of Poland," for example, it would still answer Warsaw because it operates in the full context. It can just use the tools whenever they are needed. And the tools are quite more complicated or complex because you can give parameters to them. Not only one, you can give like 5 different parameters and allow the LLM to fill them in. So if I provide a tool like move with X parameter, I can say, okay, X is a number between -3 and 3. So if I say move left, it would be -3. If I say go right, it would be 3. If I say stand in the middle, it would be 0, and anything in between. This is how it looks in Ruby. Like hash is quite big, but the idea is that simple. So I have a Ruby AI client. I just send it to ChatGPT-O. For O in here, I have a prompt, "Hey Gem, go to the right," and the description of the function. The name, description, parameters, X is a X coordinate, and so on. I can provide as many tools as I want, reasonably. When I send it, I will receive a hash which says use a function called move2 with x3. Let's not dig into that too deeply. However, what I can say what I can do is after I transcribed first, I use this transcription and I send it to GPT-4o, and I have 2 additional parameters, command and command params, move2, x3. Again, Very, very simple. You can provide as many tools as you want. Maybe not thousands, but probably like you can provide like 50 of those, and an LLM would actually understand. I will show you some more examples in a second. But now we want to again embrace Ruby on Rails and broadcast, that's a loaded word, and broadcast the command to frontend. So with that, we'll use, of course, Turbo. After an audio is processed, let's broadcast it to audio's channel. Guys, I don't know how frequent do you use Turbo, but I won't go into the details of the framework itself. I hope it's self-explanatory enough. We broadcast. All we need to do in frontend, in your view, you put a container with proper ID, and you subscribe to a Turbo stream from a given name. And this is where I started to cheat a bit, because this would render something within the audio's block, the div. What I render is actually an empty div, which is not visible. But this div has three basic attributes: the controller and two parameters, the command name and the params that I received from LLM. I hope most of you know that if I have data controller attribute in here, this would invoke a stimulus controller. So all it does is send to frontend and launches a stimulus controller, which has this if. If command is move, then move the dog. And that's it. A bit of cheating, because we are sending something, rendering something, but it's not really shown. But thanks to this, we can move gem all around the screen. And so we did it. We implemented voice control using almost nothing outside of Ruby on Rails. And you can use it for many more things, not only for steering a dog. For example, you can make the web more available. This text is intentionally small, but I can say, make the letters bigger, please. And it would do it, because it has a tool for doing that. And my favorite part is, I've said, make the letters bigger, right? Make the font larger, please. I don't have to say please. And it would do it. It's the same tool, because LLM is smart enough to understand semantically what I mean. One thing I would love to have on every website is enable dark mode, because without it, I can't really use internet. And my favorite example, and please take this with you for your website, like imagine going to an e-commerce. I know if you want to buy a laptop, you know what you're looking for. But you might go to a different store, and there you are, well, as lost as everyone else. So let's have this interaction on going to a web page. Hey, I want to buy a laptop for my son. He's gonna play computer games and watch movies. I don't want to spend more than 1,000, but since he's playing games, I think he needs the biggest screen and the biggest hard drive. Can you help me? So I sent that to an LLM. And using tools, it can filter out whatever is needed without me understanding why. Again, with laptops, it might be trivial, but imagine you go to any other store that you don't understand. You can provide that functionality. In fact, Shopify, there are add-ons to Shopify which do that already, as I've checked, but you can implement it on any of your pages. It doesn't have to be voice control. Voice control is just this flavor. You can allow people to prompt, to have a chat. But stop using filters. I hate filters so much because you have to fully understand where you're getting to use them. So it wouldn't be enough for me to leave you here, because this was just one fun thing, so I want to go into another. And I've heard that you can have a bit longer presentation today. So, but it's not going to be that long. I don't know if you do selfies, but I will do one LLM-driven. So yeah, hi. So we're using the same library that I used for recording audio. I'm just now recording video. Oh, just making one selfie. All right. Oh, it's twice. Oh, it's better. All right. So what I was doing, I really thought how to make it in a way that you guys don't think I'm cheating. So I don't know if you remember, I said that this is deployed to DigitalOcean. Who can be in a photo? Great. Okay. I need only one. Okay, so he was first. Here you are. All right. I want to make it as interactive as possible because otherwise you guys would think I pre-scripted that. So again, nothing fancy. I use this library and then I send it to a server. Just as the image, I have a CRUD that saves it. There is Hotwire, then you see it, right? So mundane Ruby on Rails. And what I can do now, I can ask the LLM to recognize those images. So let's use voice control as well. Find me an image of a pink backpack. Here it is. It's marked with red label, and at the top, you see what it understood. So it uses voice control, which I used previously, and it also uses image recognition, which is kind of not out of the box, but I will show you to some extent how it works. So first of all, oh, it's not this button. All right, so first of all, we can ask an LLM what's in an image. You just send a chat request to OpenAI, use a model. I use GPT-4o Mini because it's cheaper. And you send a compound prompt, which there is a question, what's in this image? You can ask about anything, like, is there a person in that image? And you would get yes or no. And the second thing that you want to provide is the image itself. You can either provide the base 64 version of an image or an URL. You choose. And for example, if you take an image of a dog chewing on a shoe like this, you would get this answer. So there's, sorry. So you get like, and the image shows curly-coated puppy, possibly a poodle, and so on. And you can use it however you like. So for example, you can validate contents that people upload to your website. Or you can process a security camera. There is actually such a company already for years now. My favorite use case, maybe this would be something for Friendly. Allow only smiling photos. My favorite use case for that. So if we take these images, I need to provide you information about one thing, and I will leave you somewhere there, and those are embeddings. I shortened this part, not to make it too technical, but I just wanted to introduce you to the idea. So any piece of information that you have, no matter how it's stored, it might be a string, it might be an image, it might be sound, whatever information you have can be converted to an array of numbers. It's a mathematical operation unless it's done by an LLM. LLM understands the information and creates a representation within numbers that actually those numbers for this LLM mean something. Such an array of numbers, a vector, is called an embedding. So if we take these images, and for example, I describe each of them, so we can see what comes out of an LLM. I can convert each of those to an array of numbers. How? Well, I can ask an LLM. So if I send in here a dog eating a shoe, and I get embedding, I receive a vector of more than 3,000 elements, and the first ones look like this. So how does it help in our image recognition? Well, let's take another images. Those are generated by ChatGPT. I honestly stole them because I love them. So each of those I described and converted to embeddings. And now a search query comes. I want to find an image of a bunny. So what do? I embed the phrase an image of a bunny. And here it looks like this. Now, as I have mentioned, those are vectors. This is where maths actually is useful. Because if you have an embedding of some information, then the vectors that are closest to each other, mathematically, represent the most similar information. So I have to find a vector in my database that's most similar to the one that someone is asking about, and that would be this. You might be afraid that it's complicated, and I will not show you that it is not. I don't have time for that. There will be a link at the very end to my article that you can actually see how easy it is in Ruby on Rails to do. We have gems for that. We have databases for that. This presentation does it using SQLite, actually. So this application uses SQLite, and it also allows you to do this technique. The technique is called vector search. And this is something so powerful that once you understand how it works, you will want to use it everywhere. Let's give it a try again. Find me an image of a smiling person in a bright T-shirt. Let's see. Awesome. So guys, this is vector search. And again, this is almost out of the box if you take like a neighbor gem and your every database that you use normally. But this is just a start. I just wanted to show you what makes me smile and where I find my joy for programming and for going forward. This kind of creativity to just do fun stuff and showcase them to others later on actually drives me forward. And this is like a tip of the iceberg. If you go to Hugging Face, which is like this kind of repository for open models, LLM models, you will find so many different use cases. And now it depends on your creativity, how you use them. So please go there. I won't even start to list because there is just too many of them. So should you be worried about turning 40? Hell no. It's a new beginning. And I don't know, I still can code. I would say quite well. I can meet you again when I'm 50. Let's see what happens. And for now, if you are just kind of bored by the field of what we are doing, dive into LLMs. The best way to start for me is go to ChatGPT and ask, what is LLM? The conversation that I had took a lot of pages of text, but I've learned a lot. So if you want to find an entry point, this is it, and learn on your mistakes for sure. I want to wrap up on a quote from DHH, from Toronto last year. It's more fun to be competent. And I really, really agree. However, for this presentation, I would like to leave you with a quote from myself. It's more fun to be creative. Thank you.